Okay, Cynthia, just introduce yourself.
I'm Cynthia Mulligan. I'm the political reporter at City News.
Cyn, in day-to-day reporting, sometimes we're called out to do what we call tough reporting. Could you talk to the students about the challenges facing it, and maybe give an example of what you went through and some of the tough stories that you did, like Tara McDonald?
One of the most difficult stories I did was Victoria Stafford. She was the little 8-year-old girl that went missing in Woodstock, and for months my cameraman and I would drive to Woodstock every single day and watch the desperate search for her unfold, and you knew the odds. You knew that likely within 24 hours the chances of finding her alive were slim to none, and yet you watch the family just in their desperation and grief, and you get to know the family really well, and Tara McDonald in particular for some reason felt a bond with me, and we talked at length. And it's really hard to keep the barrier up so that it doesn't impact you, that you're not absorbing her grief, but at the same time you need to show empathy and compassion. So it's difficult to find the line of distancing yourself enough and yet allowing yourself to be there enough emotionally so that you can be warm and caring with these people who need somebody to treat them with dignity and respect and show some compassion at the worst time of their lives.
Just talk about, it's a thing that all of us have to do, and nobody enjoys it. But part of our job is to sort of knock on a family victim's door who may have lost a loved one, and what's the approaches that you would take, or some advice you can give to students?
First of all, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Every reporter I know dreads it. I know reporters that sit in a camera truck and just like steel themselves to do it. I think, and you usually get two responses. One, genuine, they'll talk to you and they want their story to be heard. And the other extreme is they slam the door in your face and they're angry. I find that when you have to do it, you just be as kind and compassionate and respectful as you possibly can, and with your body language. Don't go in there with the camera rolling and everything blazing. You just see if they want to talk to you, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
Just in terms of some of the stuff that you went through, and perhaps some of your colleagues may have gone through, and some of the tough stories that they've had to tell, what kind of advice would you give students in terms of coping mechanisms, and what was available for you, if you want to share that part?
Again, I'll go back to Victoria Stafford's murder, and I covered her trial, and it was devastating to hear what was done to that child. And she was beaten, she was sexually assaulted, she was begging for her life, and to hear it described in great detail in ways that we could never convey to the audience was really difficult, because my daughter, blonde and blue eyes as well, was the exact same age at that time. And I remember coming home after spending a week at that trial and lying on my couch in my living room, truly unable to move. And the way I coped with it was I hugged my daughters a lot, and I just grounded myself and talked to my close friends and family. But I would encourage, if anybody was going through something like that and needed to talk, to seek professional help if they needed to talk to their producers. People are really aware of that now. Maybe 10, 20 years ago they weren't, but I think that there is a greater awareness today of the impact that this has on people in general and on reporters who see the worst of humanity on a sadly regular basis.
Just talking about your career, if we can just change the topic a little bit. You've done many different roles here. The importance of that, and perhaps how some advice you give to students on where your career may go, and to be open to change and be ready to accept new challenges.
I mean, let's face it, this industry is in complete flux and ever changing, and I think we have to evolve with it. So I think it's really important to know as much as you can as many areas as you can. I mean, I started as a videographer. One of my first on-air job was a videographer, and today I'm so glad I know how to shoot. It's just that added knowledge that will help you, and I was also a writer. I never did tackle editing. I can't edit to save my life, but I should. But I think that we have to have a number of skills, because even where the industry is now, I suspect it's going to shift dramatically in the next 5 years and then the 5 years after. So we're all trying to find our footing and how to move forward with it. One thing we know is content is key. Everyone is going to need content. It's how are we going to deliver it? So get really good at social media, because that is a crucial platform as well. You know, if you can learn how to shoot, definitely you have to know how to write. You have to be able to be a good writer, and you have to have your basic reporting skills: listening, learning, always watching, absorbing, and a critical eye.
If you had to give some career advice to students, what would that be?
Current advice to students: never give up. This is the best job in the world. I absolutely love it. You're not going to make $1 million, but what you will learn about life is worth so much more than that. It is such a satisfying, fascinating, amazing career to have. So just stick with it, believe in it, and just don't give up. Keep going.